Today's show is sponsored by our friends at Orca Coolers. Make this summer the coolest summer ever with Orca Coolers. They have something for everyone with American-made, lifetime guaranteed hard-side coolers to stainless steel whiskey-barreled tumblers for an elevated drinking experience. And I have to tell you, you would be the envy of anyone in your neighborhood. I just went camping. These coolers keep your ice brand new for days. I mean, I got ice in the cooler before I left. It still looked the same 4 days later when I was on my way home. This stuff is awesome. I love those whiskey barrel tumblers. They're great by the fire. They are great with a barbecue. Use code DADSEASON, that's DADSEASON, for 20% off your order. That's anything. That is the tumbler, that is the cooler, that's the accessories, that's the clothes, whatever you want. Go to orcacoolers.com for all of life's adventures. Today's show is sponsored by our friends at distilleryproducts.com. I could talk about this forever. You already know the drill. If you need awesome laser etched glassware at wholesale prices and you are a bourbon group, you are a store, you're a distillery, you got to talk to the folks at distilleryproducts.com. Reach out to me. I would be happy to get you in touch with them. They have amazing prices and do amazing work at distilleryproducts.com. Today's show is also sponsored by our friends at Action247.com. You want action? Get in on the action with Tennessee's only sportsbook by Tennesseans for Tennesseans. And if you use code DADS100, they will match up to $400 of your first deposit. There's a lot going on this week. The Preds are out of the playoffs, but the Grizz are still in the NBA playoffs. And if you haven't noticed, Action 24/7 is always boosting the local teams to win. These boosts can be found under the Actions Action tab in the app, on the website. The college baseball regionals are also this weekend. There's NBA playoff insurance and NBA player props. Don't forget to go to action247.com and use code DADS100. All right, Zeke, I apologize because I had every intention of catching us up this week and I failed royally because my daughter broke her collarbone.
You know, I feel like this is probably, the first of what should be a somewhat well-documented saga. Just, being around you enough over the last few years, seeing you damn near break countless bottles in stores and other places and being compared to something between a bull in a china shop and Wreck-It Ralph. And, I think we ought to just do some kind of, documentary or evidence or whatever and just call it Growing Up Edwards.
What I will say is,
kid though, because I think there's going to be, not wishing any harm, obviously, but I don't think this is going to be the first broken bone or like random little incident that, we get to brush off and laugh about later. But
100% not. 100% not. What I will say is that I have broke many bones in my life. I've had, football injuries that have needed surgeries. I've had tons of broken bones growing up. I broke my hands more times than I can count. I have never broken a collarbone. Come to find out that my wife's side of the family, there's like 6 people that have all broken their collarbone on her side. This one I'm not claiming is an Edwards injury.
We'll save all the long details with that many people, but did they have legit injuries or did they also have Edwards-esque moves? Because the kid definitely pulled an Edwards-esque move, I feel like.
No, I mean, this was her side of the family. So what happened was, real quick, this is going to be a longer cold open than we would have normally done, but this is very relevant. It's been what has been encompassing my life the past few days. So my daughter was riding her bike. She's 5 years old. She still has training wheels and she was starting to go down hills. Now I had practiced on a very small driveway with her. We went halfway up the driveway. Then she went down. Then she was able to go the full way down the driveway. And she's still kind of figuring out like how to ride a bike, right? Like she's got the training wheels on. We take her out when we can. We should probably take her out more. I'm kind of outside watching them but they're playing. So it's not like I'm hovering over like a helicopter parent, but I'm like letting her play outside. Next thing you know, she went down the big hill I see her coming to the bottom of the hill, and then I see her proceed to flip over the front of her handlebars, and then she had kind of turned and like tucked and rolled as she was going down. So she got a whole bunch of road rash on like her right upper shoulder and back, and she broke her collarbone. The thing that was getting me, I know my neighbors aren't going to listen to the Dad Drinking Bourbon podcast, but like I'm carrying her and I'm carrying the bike up the hill, and my neighbors are like, she's screaming, right? Like she's screaming in my ear. I'm like, it's okay, baby. It's okay, baby. And my neighbors are like, put the bike down. I'm like, don't you know I earn my booze? I can carry the bike and the kid.
The only time I had anything similar once, Charleston took out a mailbox post, and he and I were both on bikes. So I had to leave mine and carry him and the bike. It's always super awkward, seeing the parents when you pass by, because
they're like staring at you like you're a terrible parent. I'm like, I can carry the bike and the kid. Like, I'm not neglecting the kid by carrying the bike too.
Well, either way, they stare at you, and some are like, oh, and some are like, oh, what'd he do? And some are just, then inevitably you get the, are they okay? No, man, they did. I'm just carrying them over here, going to dig a hole in a minute. Son, can't you hear them yelling? Damn right they're okay. They wouldn't be yelling if they weren't okay.
Well, the thing that kills me is like they're trying to have a conversation with me, and she's screaming her head off in my ear. And I'm like, do you think I can hear you right now?
I would just say that shows how well your neighbors know you. They know in light of everything, Edwards will stop and talk.
No, I didn't stop. I was walking, and I'm just like, I can't hear you right now. And he's like motioning me to leave the bike. I'm like, I'm fine. It's not going to make me get home in more time carrying the bike. So like, I'm fine. Chill out. Go back inside. Everything's all good. I do have to say, to stop this very long cold open, Sophia has been nothing less than a friggin' champ everywhere. I mean, that night she was crying for a good 30 minutes, but then kind of calmed down, and like, she has a broken collarbone. We had to go to the ER. She stayed up until like 1 a.m. last night because she had to go get x-rays and all that kind of stuff, and then come home, and she couldn't get comfortable in the bed. But she has been awesome. Like, I expected her to be crying more, and every once in a while there's like an but it's not sustained. She's just being tough as nails. I love her. Makes me love her even more. She's totally my kid. She is a tough cookie. I'm just so proud of her.
Growing up Edwards.
Hello, everyone. My name is John Edwards, and with me, as always, is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day. I am fresh from an orthopedics appointment. What I will say to close out the cold open is, so we go to the ER, we go to the after hours care, and then we go to the ER last night, and nobody had a sling. After hours care didn't have a sling. ER didn't have a sling. Like, how does the freaking ER not have a sling? I called the orthopedics this morning, and they go, well, we normally get her in a week after the thing. I said, well, can we just get a sling? Like, she doesn't have anything for her arm. I could go buy one, but like, can we just get a sling? And then they go, oh, well, that changes things. She hasn't even got a sling or been immobilized or anything. Like, we'll see you this afternoon. So I go in for the appointment today, and we're on our way home, and she goes, the doctor didn't do anything. And I was like, yeah, but you got a sling.
Yeah, the orthopedist was smart enough to get it paid out of that. I can't believe the ER didn't do that. I mean, it looks like, optic-wise, it looks like they're providing care, but really, you think anybody asked what the sling costs at the ER? You just get billed for it later. You just missed out at least $150, $200 easy.
I know, and that thing's probably only worth $19.99.
Oh yeah, ER just missed out on a nice little chunk of change.
Yeah. How you doing? I mean, you know what's going on in my life. How are you?
I'm hanging in, keep my head above water, try not to work too hard. Stay too busy. The normal rigmarole, strikes and gutters.
Now, you already have that bottle open. You're trying to get the paper off the bottom half of the neck too, or?
Sometimes I have ADD moments, and sometimes things bother me. This happened to bother me, and I want to take it off.
I don't think it's ADD as much as it's OCD. So You have the bottle of the 1783, which is what we are drinking, the new 1783 small batch. It has the tab. You pulled the tab off so that the top came off. And then there's like
a screw top.
It is a screw top, but there was the seal was on there.
There was plastic. Half came off, half didn't. The bottom half got on my nerves. And if it was OCD, I'd do that for every bottle, which I don't. So it's just this thing got on my damn nerves while I was listening to you ramble. It was looking at me funny.
A lot of people look at you funny.
I know. I wish I could do that to half of them.
Oh, so you're doing okay, my friend?
Yeah. Head above water.
Well, let's talk about this new 1783 small batch. So we got a letter, and it is from our friend Lauren Cherry, who is the communications manager at Evan Williams and Heaven Hill. And it says, "Dear friend of Evan Williams, enclosed you will find the new redesigned Evan Williams 1783 small batch featuring the bourbon at his original 90 proof in a new premium packaging. It's named after the year Evan Williams first opened his distillery on the banks of the Ohio River. The new premium package celebrates Kentucky bourbon's first licensed endeavor. Evan Williams 1783 small batch pays homage to some of the earliest years of licensed distilling in Kentucky and an important year for bourbon and the Commonwealth signature industry." So let me skip through the rest. It is a new proprietary glass bottle with the Evan Williams signature blown in across the top. 1783 is prominently displayed in gold foil across the top label. The face label also features expertly crafted in the gold foil treatment to emphasize the consistency of quality Evan Williams is known for. The enhanced packaging and proof align well with what consumers expect in a small batch bourbon today. So this bridges the gap between the Evan Williams black label, which is 80 proof, and the white label bottled in bond, which is 100 proof. This is crafted with Heaven Hill Distillery's traditional bourbon mash bill of 78% corn, 12% malted barley, and 10% rye. It also retains an extra age quality with his marriage of barrels aged 6 to 8 years, providing a smooth, rich, and bold flavor. 6 to 8 year bourbon, 90 proof. This only comes in at $19.99.
And I couldn't tell you the last time I had, I guess, the black label, the 80 proof one. I mean, I'm not even sure if I maybe ever have more than once somewhere way back down the road. I'll get the white label bottled in bond off and on sometimes. It's just, kind of when you're rotating through your dailies, and it fits that space pretty good. I've always felt like, for the price and the little bit of nuances you get there. And not to get ahead of myself, but hot damn, this thing has surprised me. I'll go ahead and say it.
Well, I normally use the black label or the green label to cook. That's the stuff I'm putting in, my marinades and things like that, or my sauces. Again, it's charcoal filtered.
I don't think you can link charcoal filtering to charcoal mellowing, or people in Lynchburg might lynch you.
What I will say is I always use Evan Williams and Heaven Hill because the regular Heaven Hill is charcoal mellowed as well, or charcoal filtered. I always use that as the excuse when people say like, "Oh, well, Jack Daniel's is Tennessee whiskey and not bourbon because it's charcoal mellowed." And it's like, well, guess what? Heaven Hill and Evan Williams are too, and they're bourbon. Like the charcoal does not add anything. And Jeff Arnett has come out on the record on our show saying that Tennessee whiskey is a subset of bourbon. It was on our Instagram. It was a live I did with him. I know you weren't there. I know you just kind of gave me the eyes. Like, he said that? Yeah. Dad's Drinking Bourbon did an interview with Jeff Arnett, and he said Tennessee whiskey is a subset of bourbon.
Oh, yeah. That's when you're at that thing with my cousin. You didn't even say hello.
I didn't even know your cousin was there. I would have said hello.
Me either, till after the fact. But no, I thought Heaven Hill, honestly, charcoal filtered a fair amount of stuff. But again, just to clarify, so the people in the backyard don't get mad at least me out of this situation. If you've been to Lynchburg, you've been to Jack, you see the charcoal mellowing and how it slowly matriculates down through an entire barrel full of charcoal. I would not equate that to charcoal filtering. I just want that on the record for my own sake so that they can send the letters to John, not me.
Listen, we're both Tennessee squires. And if you decide to do anything with the Tennessee whiskey trail, then you could talk about Tennessee whiskey. Yes, you've picked some Jack Daniels, but the Tennessee whiskey trail thinks that you are a freaking ghost. So I will tell you that Tennessee whiskey is Tennessee whiskey because that's what Tennessee wants it to be called. And I am fully in favor of it. That is a complete side note that we don't have to talk about tonight. I want to talk about this 1783 small batch from Evan Williams in Heaven Hill. What did you think about this whiskey, Zeke Baker?
I'm pretty damn impressed here. I was surprised. Nose-wise, the first thing that really came off to me was oak, almost kind of like a hickory chicory type, somewhere in there, slightly deeper. Really get a nice composite of tannins and vanillins, I guess if you want to call them. But it's a really good mingling of what should be coming out of, a well-aged product that came out of good oak. Very, very faint corn or any type of, hint at youth at all. It almost kind of reminds me, of just crisp, slender cuts of firewood, not kindling, a little bit thicker than that, but not, your heavy, big, slow burners, ones that pop, get to crackling a little bit, have, some little like hairs almost that look like they come off of them, and just the aroma you get because that wood just been dried out and it is just ready to burn. Moving across towards the palate, I really thought it seemed to follow the same theme. At first, it really gave what I put down as a light pepperine, so kind of a peppery taste or feel, but really just more of a tingle. Again, that oak coming in there with a little bit of alcohol, just to let you know it's there. Behind that, I really thought this thickened up well, especially for a 90 proof. And I know that's normally more John's wheelhouse than mine as far as thinking or paying attention to it. But again, for, a bottom to medium shelf 90 proofer that I included, and I think most other people probably look over a good bit, this had some damn good viscosity to it. There was just a slight bit of corn in the middle, but it wasn't in a bad way at all. If anything, it just reminded you that, hey, this is 78% corn. What did you expect here? And just kind of rounded off and gave it an extra little nice dimension as well. Moving towards the back end and finish, I really thought it held that kind of pep in its step, so to speak, throughout the whole tasting pretty well. And even with a little, chewing, working it around from side to side and whatnot, it holds its consistency. It maintains that viscosity, and front to back, I felt like it delivered. I can't really have a whole lot else to say in terms of notes, really.
So now that you took my mouthfeel, you jerk, I don't really have much to talk about.
I didn't use that word.
You said viscosity. It is interchangeable. I really agree with your assessment. There's not much I can really throw in that is different. It does have a fair amount of oak. It does have a good bit of vanilla. It has a good balance of everything. And I think the crazy thing about this one is if you get it on the shelf and you don't know it, you don't have this press release in front of you, you're just like, oh yeah, that's a really good $20 pour. And then you look at this press release and you're like, all right, well, it is a small batch of 6 to 8 year barrels for $20. And you think about what Heaven Hill could put 6 to 8 year barrels out. They're bottled in bond, which is the 7 year, is a $45 bottle. So you look at this, it's like 6 to 8 years. It's a blend. I tend to not hate on blends because it has a more consistent profile. Like, yeah, you could get a really money single barrel here and there, but the small batch is going to give you the more consistent profile. And you know that they're working on blending the best blend they can. This is $20. Like, I'm just very impressed. The taste is good. It goes down easy. It's not too thin of a mouthfeel. It has enough body and boldness in it, especially with that oak, that you feel like you're drinking something that is worth more than $20. And I know I'm not really talking about like specific details in my assessment here. That's because I think my compadre over here did a very good job at doing that. I'm just very impressed with this release, very impressed with the bottle redesign. From a marketing standpoint, it's a home run. From a whiskey standpoint, it's a home run. It's $20. If we were to ever say anything other than buy this, because you're going to go to a bar, the pour is going to be $5 to $10. Well, you're already spending half the bottle. Just go out and buy the damn bottle.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what I laughed about because, full transparency, it's more oak than I necessarily care for most days. I'm not that heavy into oak, but this is good for what it is, for what it delivers. Hint, hint, knock, knock, the folks that chase and maybe find a couple of Eagle Rares here and there a year on a shelf. Granted, I've had some that weren't oaky on the side, but, it's a 10-year product. If you're looking for oak at a 90 proof, by God, this is going to deliver. And if anything, it kind of made me think, I'm sure there's folks that have been buying this stuff probably, 30 or more years. And they just look, the guy in the shop's probably like, Can I help you? Like, no. Been buying the same one longer than you've been alive, son. Gonna keep doing it. Well, like, this is why. I mean, you think about like, an older bourbon drinker that's just sitting back, laid back, enjoying a couple of pours in the afternoon, evening, whatnot. Doesn't need a whole lot, just needs a couple of pours. This has got to be like the quintessential almost, maybe.
Well, and for the people that like an older tasting whiskey that has a little bit of oak in there, this is going to be right in your wheelhouse. And I don't think it's too much oak. It doesn't get to the point where it gets too dry. For me, it's just, there's oak there. It's definitely not too dry.
No, it's not too much by any means. It's just surprising for a shelf drinker at that price point and that proof to kind of deliver that much of that kind of profile. I mean, I feel bad for overlooking it this long. Like,
well, it wasn't 90 proof. This is redesigned and put out at 90 proof. So this is a new deal.
Oh, FDR.
Yeah.
I missed that part of the equation. I feel less bad, but what I was going to say is, people that, you want to stock the bar, you want a little bit of something for everybody and you don't want to break the bank. Well, here's your 90 proof, oak forward, good old fashioned straight bourbon Kentucky whiskey. This is going to fill a niche that somebody's going to show up at your house and want one day. And when you show them what it is, they're probably going to laugh and be like, well, damn, son, I'd never guessed that.
And what I like about this is like, this is the utility player. You think about somebody who's a receiver that could do running back and then can go ahead and surprise you and play defensive back, and then they're returning punts and kickoffs. I mean, that's what this is. If you want to put this in a cocktail, go ahead and put this in a cocktail. If you want to have it neat, go ahead and have it neat. If you want to put it with a big old ice cube, do that too. Like, and at $20, who the hell cares? Do whatever the hell you want to do with this bourbon. Stop over analyzing it. Just drink the shit and enjoy it.
You're going to criticize me and how I'm drinking my $20 bottle? I got 3 letters for you. GFY.
I mean, seriously, like, I get it. If, and I'm never going to criticize somebody for how they drink. If they want to take Pappy 15 and put it in Jello shots, which is, I know what a bar in Louisville does, go ahead and do it. I know that almost made Zeke spit out his drink, but, if you want, whatever you want to do, I don't care. Drink how you want to drink what you want to drink. I know sometimes there are certain bottles, though, that somebody's like, oh, man, I wish you wouldn't put that BTAC over ice. But, like, you can't complain when you have a $20 whiskey. Like, you can't complain.
Yeah. Hey, man, somebody just 3-finger poured your bottle. Sweet. I got a case in the back.
Yeah. And I got the case discount, so I got 6 of them for $80.
I saved 10%, son. Smart man right here.
So anyways, no reason to belabor the point here. Go out, get this, enjoy it, have fun.
And before we check out, while we're talking on go out and get something, we'll switch gears for a moment, at least for our local fellow bourbon consumers. Be on the lookouts and shelves hitting probably the next week or two. There should be a Blue Note 17-year single barrel pick that John and I were fortunate enough to pick. It might even have a pretty sticker with both of our ugly faces on the back.
And I'm sitting down. I am sitting down, just so you know.
Distribution will be limited. It is 1 barrel. So talk to your locals, hit them up, see if they're getting any. I don't think there's going to be an abundance, obviously. So keep your eyes peeled for those. We just wanted to get a little bit of promo in there for that as well.
That was 20 cases for people that are wondering. It is 20 cases. It was a distro pick, so it will be around Nashville. We also have a Penelope pick, which will be across stores in Tennessee, in Knoxville, Nashville. I'm not sure where else. That is a pick that will be out as well. It's not a pick, it's a blend. Zeke and I blended a Penelope.
Keep your eyes peeled. Might even be a barrel drop in the DDB group in the next week or so, too. Shit's going everywhere, John. I can't even keep up anymore.
Well, before we leave, we want to say thank you to Heaven Hill for sending us this bottle. We really enjoyed it. It is an awesome $20 bottle. They put an awesome set together as well. It had a couple of glasses in it, strainer, all sorts of good stuff. Some hand sanitizer, some Evan Williams hand sanitizer in there as well. Thank you, Heaven Hill. Go ahead and find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon, Twitter at Bourbon Dads, Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Thank you for listening to this podcast. Please leave an open and honest review like we leave open and honest reviews about the whiskey we drink. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Good old Nashville, Tennessee, or, down there in Franklin, growing up Edwards.
Yeah, you can find us at the hospital. Cheers.
Ciao.